Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. Greetings from a very, very hot Dallas, Texas. I think we hit about 106, 107 degrees today. But I kind of prefer the heat over the cold, but this is even testing my ability. Just so you know, the hottest that I've ever been was over in Kandahar, Afghanistan, and it hit 133 degrees. But at least I'm not in full battle gear and I can drink as much water as I want to. But thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy days and schedules to spend 30 minutes here with me on another Facebook Live. Last time I was with you, it was the evening before our 242nd Independence Day celebration. And I just want to wish that everyone had a great Independence Day celebration. Also want to thank all the folks out there who are part of the special operations team that we have at the Old School Patriot website, and also our discussion group on Facebook. Twitter, I'm not sorry, Twitter, but Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, they're doing some funny things with the discussion groups, but thank you for hanging in there. And if you'd like, please look at how you can join and be a member of our special operations team and really be out there and take the principles and values, some of the things that we talk about on the website and on Facebook out there and really advocate for the restoration of this constitutional republic. I just want to also remind you that if you want to know everything about Alan West, right here, this is our Facebook page, and the Old School Patriot is our official website. Now, there are some folks out there that say Alan West this, Alan West that. That's not me. They may try to use some good old Southern euphemisms that they have seen me use on other venues and other places, but here, this is our Facebook page, theoldschoolpatriot.com. Theoldschoolpatriot.com is our website. But let me get going because, as always, I want to spend about 15 to 20 minutes speaking with you about some of the hot topics, and there are plenty of hot topics in just this week. And then I want to go over and take some of your questions and try to answer directly to you. So, again, thank you for giving me these 30 minutes of your time because I know that many of you have busy schedules, not so much like the left that just sit around waiting for the next protest. You guys are working hard, taking care of your families. You're probably at the dinner table or just coming off of the dinner table. Well, let's start off with, the big thing that really got the heads of the left exploding, and I'll call it the Helsinki hysteria. Now, some of you may have been upset because I didn't quite agree with the president, the way that he handled that one question. I think that in the face of a bully, you have to be a little bit more stronger. I understand we want to engage Russia, but the most important thing, the language of despots and dictators has to be a language of strength and might. Yes, we're doing some great things. The Trump administration is policy-wise on the ground when dealing with Russia. But I think when you have that one moment, that optic on the global stage, you got to make sure you capitalize on it. And as you all know, the Trump administration announced today by Twitter that they're going to have another summit with Vladimir Putin here in the United States of America in the fall. So you can just know that going into this weekend, there's going to be a continuing meltdown from the progressive socialist left. Let's talk about that meltdown. Let's talk about that hysteria. The fact that now they want to subpoena the translator, the interpreter that was there with President Trump doing his one-on-one meeting, that's absolutely absurd. We've never heard of anything like that before. And when you have someone like a John Brennan, the former CIA director, who we know voted for a Communist Party candidate once, him coming out and talking about treason and how this is disgraceful and all of this stuff. What about when we send pallets of cash overnight in an unmarked airplane to, the #1 state sponsor of Islamic terrorism? I think that's pretty treasonous. Or how is it that no one on the left ever said anything with the reset button? Well, the fact that John Kerry and Barack Obama trusted Vladimir Putin and Russia when it came to getting chemical weapons out of Syria. Nothing said about that. Or how about that off-mic moment that we all recall when President Obama said that after my reelection, I'll have more flexibility. Talk about collusion. But, it's just amazing, this hypocrisy that comes out. And I think that's what drives a lot of the hysteria of the left. And what they fail to understand is we're not really dumb. I mean, we can go back, we can see all of these things, and we can know exactly what has happened. The fact that, previously, when asked about the greatest geopolitical threat at the time in 2012, Mitt Romney responded with Russia. Barack Obama said that the 80s needed its national security strategy back. So when is Russia the enemy? When is it the bad guy? Well, it seems only when it can benefit the left. Now, as we go forward, we have to understand, yes, we want to make sure that we have engagement with these people that are seen as our enemies, our opposition, our adversaries. But when you do this engagement, you have to do that engagement from a position of strength. I think that's the most important thing that we need to understand going forward. And you have to understand the politics of optics. Yes, President Trump is not a politician. I applaud him for that. But you also have to be a lot more savvy, and you have to understand the battlefield that you're on. You have to understand the relationships that you're trying to build. And you have to understand the message that you're trying to get out. And I think that when you look at what we're doing with Ukraine, when we look at what we're doing with the Baltic states, the sanctions and everything, there's no doubt about it that this Trump administration is far, far above and beyond stronger against Russia than the Obama administration, even the Bush administration was. But we've got to make sure that when you have that moment, and it seems that we may have another moment in the fall if Vladimir Putin is coming here for a second summit, you can't blow that one moment, that optic, that opportunity that you have to really let someone like a Vladimir Putin, a pretty evil guy, understand that you may have gotten away with something with the previous administration. It's not going to happen here. And let's just continue to let the progressive socialist left rant and rave. I'm sure a lot of you saw what happened today or seen the video clip of Whoopi Goldberg with Judge Jeanine Pirro on The View. That's just who they are, and they continue to show us that. Now, I want to move to another topic, which really shows the juxtaposition between the hysteria and the manic manner and the ideological agenda of the left as opposed to those that, let's call them constitutional conservatives. President Trump and Kevin Brady, who is the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, are talking about tax cuts 2.0. They want to make the individual tax cuts permanent, and I think that's a great thing. And think about what we're seeing in the United States of America right now. I mean, we're almost at full employment. We have more job opportunities out there than we have people to go into it. And today we saw the president talk about how we can train and prepare Americans for this 21st century jobs environment. And you saw a lot of top companies that are saying, hey, we're on board with that to get that training done. But as we're talking about a growing economy, when we're talking about an economy that may even hit in this coming quarter 4% GDP growth, an average GDP growth for the year 2018 of 3%, the fact that you had the Federal Reserve Chairman testifying before the Senate Finance Committee this week about how well the economy is doing. So with all of that good news for the economy, what do you think the progressive socialist left is going right now? Yep, you got it. A universal basic income. Even in a speech over in South Africa, Barack Obama was talking about it. Now Chicago is talking about it. We wrote and told you about how Stockton, California is looking at going to that. So at a time when we should, be, advocating for people to go out and get better training, better skills, and get out into the workforce, which you can see right now that the workforce participation rate is going in the right direction. And the unemployment rate is going in the opposite direction of it. So that's the right relationship. But think about this. What is the left talking about? They're talking about people just sitting home and them choosing who they're going to give $500 a month to. Now, how does that make any sense whatsoever? Dr. Michael Savage, hi, Dr. Savage, if you're listening or whatever, he used to say something that really, I wasn't kind of on board with it, but he said liberalism is a mental disorder. Well, first of all, let's call it postmodern liberalism or progressive socialism. But I'm really starting to believe that they are a little nuts, because when the economy is going great, why are you talking about just giving people $500 just to sit at home and do nothing? Why don't we inspire? Why don't we encourage people to get out and work and understand what it means to be a part of this economic recovery, the economic growth that we have here in the United States of America? Why would you want to create more economic dependency instead of economic independence? Why would you want to create more economic enslavement? And that's really what it is when you're just sitting back and waiting for the government to give you a little bit of pittance, truly crumbs. Let's think about it now. Universal basic income, $500 a month, but as opposed to people all of a sudden getting $2,000 or even more into their paychecks, that's crumbs. I don't get where the left is going here. I don't get their understanding of economics. Oh, Well, if you want to really understand how the left sees economics, go back and look at that interview on NPR with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Let's be very honest. She's the darling of the far left. She's an avowed Democrat socialist. And guess what is amazing to me? She has an economics degree from Boston University. Someone needs to look at the curriculum that they're teaching at Boston University when it comes to economics. I guess they're probably teaching Keynesian economic theory, government spending. That's the way they want to go. And we do need to get government spending under control. That's one of the things that you guys up there on Capitol Hill, Mr. President, you got to do. We can't have these trillion-dollar deficits anymore. I love the fact that we have economic growth, but we got to curtail the government spending. But that's what the left wants. Free healthcare, free college education, just free money. That's what the universal basic income is. We're just going to give you money. But then who gets to decide who gets the money? I mean, is it going to be that in Chicago or out of Stockton, California, or wherever this absurd idea pops up, that they're just going to give free money to people here illegally? I mean, let's be very honest. Keith Ellison, who is the deputy director of the Democrat National Committee, he's a representative, U.S. representative from Minnesota, and is running for attorney general in Minnesota. Just this week, he said borders are an injustice because borders keep people from coming in and earning a higher wage. So here we have the second in command of the Democrat National Committee basically saying that he doesn't believe in the sovereignty of the United States of America. And this is a person that wants to be the attorney general of the state of Minnesota. Well, then should we abolish the borders of the state of Minnesota and just let people from Wisconsin or wherever just, flow in and do whatever they want? Or maybe the people from Canada can come right on down into Minnesota. This is the incredible evidence, I think, of derangement that we see coming from the progressive socialist left. They don't understand, how to connect with the American people. They are so wedded to an ideological agenda of failure that I don't understand how anyone could vote for this. And we talk about borders and what was just said by Keith Ellison. On Wednesday evening, there was a vote in the United States House of Representatives. It was a vote on a resolution to support our Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, the ICE agency. And if you don't know what ICE does every day, read up on it. And we've been posting some stories about some criminal and illegal activities that are out there, such as in California, the guy that was deported 11 times, but took a chainsaw to his wife. And luckily, ICE was able to apprehend him before he crossed the border and went back into Mexico. But think about this vote that was held in the United States House of Representatives. Only 18 Democrats voted for the resolution to support our Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. Only 18 Democrats voted for a law enforcement agency that upholds a law that was passed through our Congress, House and Senate. Only 18 Democrats stand up for the rule of law and the enforcement of our borders and your security. 34 Democrats completely said, no, they don't support ICE. 133 Democrats in your United States House of Representatives voted present. That's what the leadership, Nancy Pelosi, asked them to do. And I think that's cowardly. Really, to me, that's them basically saying no, but we don't have the courage to stand up and say no. Is this something that the left is going to run on? Abolishing ICE? Is a universal basic income something that the left is going to run on, giving people free money? I mean, the absurdity of all of this rhetoric that is coming from the left. Ms. Ocasio-Cortez saying that the reason that the unemployment rate is low is because people have more than one job. They have two jobs. And again, this is a person that has an economics degree from Boston University. Yeah, maybe she should have come down south to, the SEC schools and probably got a right and proper education instead of that highfalutin, high cost education that, indoctrination. That's really what she got. But that's what's happening here in the United States of America. So I'm just asking our progressive socialist detractors, our buddies from across the aisle, whatever you want to call yourselves today, why should anyone vote for what you believe in? Let me just go down the line. You believe in socialist economic principles? Where has that ever worked? I mean, if you want to tell me it's working in Venezuela, I'm sorry. You want to have this universal basic income. Basically, you're telling people like myself that are out there working hard that we just need to work harder so that you can give free money to people that I guess you will just want them to vote for it. Now, why would you want to just give away free money when minority unemployment, Black and Hispanic, historic all-time lows? Shouldn't you be talking about how we can get more people out working, more people to have pride in labor and what they're able to produce themselves? Nah, that's not who you are. You want to repeal the tax cut law. That's already been said. And good luck with that one. You want to abolish the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. Why would you want to do that? Again, is the mantra of Keith Ellison that you don't believe that we should have borders, that borders are an injustice? You don't believe in the sovereignty of the United States of America? Is that what you want to have? It's just a free-for-all, come one, come all. And then, of course, the safety and security of the everyday American citizen is put on a sacrificial platform, all for your ideological agenda, so that you can have more people here that can be dependent upon you that I guess will vote for you. Nah, I don't think so. Do you want to continue on with this mantra of illegals being able to vote like we see happening out there in San Francisco and some other municipalities in the United States of America? I thought the right to vote had to do with American citizenship. I guess not. I guess if you're here, you're free to vote however you wish. And it's interesting that you want people to vote in these school board elections so that you can continue your system of indoctrination and not a system of education. And of course, impeach the president. I mean, I could spend an hour talking about some of the constitutional violations of President Barack Hussein Obama. But if someone had said impeach the President Obama, you guys went absolutely apoplectic. And of course, you threw out the R word, racism. Well, the R word is not working anymore because you've gone to that well too often and it is dry. When you see displays of beheadings of President Trump or some of the things that are being said, let me tell you, the rhetoric, the hysteria, it's over the top. When you see the way that Whoopi Goldberg acted today, when you know what Maxine Waters is calling for, you guys are really, venturing out into some dangerous seas. And I would ask that you would come back into safe harbor. Now, I'm happy to have an ideological, intellectual debate with you, but that's not what you want. All you really want is ideological domination, and you want to crush any type of opposition that you have. That's what progressive socialism is all about. And when you think about it, there's a very thin line between how you guys act toward your opposition and how a person like Vladimir Putin acts toward his opposition as well. So be careful about throwing around the word treason, because there's a lot of instances where people could say that folks on the left have done some pretty treasonous things as well. Now, with that being said, let's go and see what is going on here on the Suzanne Smitley Pack. The Democrats are truly nuts. I'm telling you, I'm starting to believe that Michael Savage had it right, that it is a mental disorder, because you just can't figure this out. None of it makes sense. If the economy is doing well, why are you talking about a universal basic income? You don't believe in borders. You want to give illegal immigrants voting rights. You want to abolish the agency that's trying to protect us from criminal illegal immigrants. None of this makes any sense. You want to repeal the tax cut law that is, seeing us turn this economy around. Understand something. When Barack Obama was over in South Africa this week, and he talked about the ascendancy of strong men, the only way that strong men can ascend is for the existence of weak men. And that's what we had over the past 8 years. Alan, always reading and sharing your posts. Glad to see you. Thank you, Sandra Blair. Heather Bates. When they no longer teach civics in high school, this is what you get. You're absolutely right. We have to, start having these conversations. I continue to harp on this in our homes, in our churches, in our communities. We've got to get back to understanding what civics truly is. And when I hear someone like Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, I mean, you need to see that NPR interview that she did. When she says free market capitalism has not always existed, and she doesn't believe it'll exist in the future. I mean, this is coming from a person that went to Boston University and got a degree in economics. Free market capitalism has existed from the very single beginning that a guy traded a stick for a stone with someone else. This country was part of free market capitalism. I mean, that's one of the things that, the British liked about here, the commodities that were here, the tobacco, the agriculture, the fishing trade. I mean, whatever you want to call it, free market capitalism has always existed. I mean, how do we get these type of people that are being voted for? Because as the young lady just said, we're not teaching civics, and we're definitely not teaching economics. Tracy White Bennett, they no longer want to get along, they want to crush us. I think that's true because this, when you look at Antifa, I wrote a piece, it's there on the Old School Patriot website. And again, if you want to know about what I'm doing, you go to theoldschoolpatriot.com or you go to our Facebook page here. But I wrote a piece about fascism and really the definition of fascism. That's who they are, not us. But it's very interesting to me that they throw it out toward constitutional conservatives, people that on the vicious far right, when we want to engage, we want to have the intellectual debate, but they just want to shut you down because they cannot defend what they believe in. So that's why it's important to educate yourselves and have these discussions to be able to go out and confront them. When they start to yell and scream and call you names, whatever, that's fine. You're winning the debate. That just shows that they don't have that much between those two ears. Debbie Goins-Snelson, how will California allow illegals to vote? How is that legal? It's very simple. Out in San Francisco, they own the school board, they own the city government. It's just that, how was it that a person that shot Kate Steinle out there is walking free? Because it's more important to protect criminal illegal immigrants than it is the American people. So what you all need to do out in California is you need to start pushing back and standing up and fighting, which is something that we saw with the sanctuary state rule that a lot of people are saying we're not going to abide by it. And so you have to start challenging them even there in California. My big concern is with this universal basic income that we see in Stockton, California, and now we hear Chicago wants to talk about it. Be on the lookout. That's going to come to more cities all across the United States of America that are controlled by the progressive socialist left, the Democrat Party. It would not surprise me if all of a sudden we don't hear rantings about universal basic income right here in Texas, in Austin, Texas, because we know who runs and controls Austin, Texas, the city council there. So these are the type of things we have to study, understand, and it is unconstitutional. And so I think that someone should be challenging the city of San Francisco and bring a lawsuit against them. Of course, the Ninth Circuit Court out there is a very far left liberal court, but also that is one of the most overturned courts in the United States of America. And this is why the left is so concerned about losing control of the Supreme Court, because that's where they run to, the court system, in order to implement their agenda that normally cannot pass through a legislative process unless they have complete dominance like you see out in California. Cameron Estes, our kids are being indoctrinated in our public school. Hey, Cameron, if you read the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, one of the planks of Marxism is state control of education. When you have this state control of education, look at what you're getting. That's why what President Trump announced today is so important, because we need to get back to educating our kids, and also we need to get back to developing productive skills in them so that they can be productive citizens. And I think that vocational studies should be something that gets started right there in high school. I mean, wood shop, automobile mechanic, all those things that we had when I was there at Henry Grady High School in Atlanta, Georgia. Instead of having teachers that are trying to inculcate Marxist or socialist views or getting people to write papers based upon a specific leftist ideological agenda, one of the key things we have to do in the United States of America, we got to break the power and the control of the teachers' unions. If we can do that, then we can turn things around in our education system, or rather we can restore an education system in America. And having an uber, Department of Education up there in Washington, D.C., education is a local issue. It is a state and local issue. That's why we have school boards. And if you look around, wherever the left goes, they try to control school boards. So I will tell you, the most important elected position in the United States of America is school board. So get out there and run for school board. Gina Friscione Wolf, my source of real information. Thank you for your honesty and dedication to keeping us informed. Hey, that's a burden that I take very, very seriously, to make sure that I am sharing with you, thoughts, perspectives, and insights that are factually based, and you can go and you can elaborate on it. But it is just about enlightening each and every one of you, because if we are an informed electorate, we'll make the right decisions at the ballot box. And that's why I've talked about today. I don't know how anyone can vote for the progressive socialist left when they are looking at socialist economic principles, universal basic income, allowing illegal immigrants to vote. They want open borders. They want to abolish the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. They want to impeach the president. They want to repeal the tax cut law that has given us economic growth. I don't understand why you want to vote for these things. If you don't like President Trump, I got it. I understand that. But you can't say that there are policies that are failing, okay? Because if you say that the policies are failing, they're enabling America to be at almost full-time employment, then you're delusional, and you have to face that. Let's see, Dolores Dulce Bailey. Homeschool your children. I tell you what, that's one of the reasons why the left does not like homeschooling, because you take away their power when you are able to educate your child. Now, I will tell you also that when you read the Proverbs of Solomon 22-6, where it says, train up a child in the way that they should go, so when they are old, they shall not depart from it. Just because you're homeschooling does not mean once they go through that homeschool curriculum, they graduate, got the high school diploma, you still got to stay engaged and involved with your kids. I had the great opportunity a couple of weeks back to go up and speak to the Young America's Foundation, their high school leadership conference. And it's so encouraging to see, it's about 110, 120 young high school conservatives out there. They're up for the fight, and they are behind enemy lines. They're fighting against their peers, they're fighting against their teachers, they're fighting against the administration, just the same as on many of these college campuses. So we got to continue to encourage our young people and definitely our children and our grandchildren. Let's see. Robert Easton Jr., Obama followed Alinsky's steps to socialism. Absolutely. And if you all have not read Saul Alinsky's Rules from Radicals, and Barack Obama was from Chicago, Saul Alinsky, Chicago, Hillary Clinton, Chicago, Rahm Emanuel, Chicago. I think you get where I'm going with this. And now we got universal basic income, Chicago. So we've got to study, we've got to understand their principles, their ideologies, so that we can combat what they stand for and what they purported to believe in as well. Let's see. Becca curriculum is 2 years ahead of public school. My son reads at a high school level and writes cursive. That's from Jake House. You know something? My mom had me writing cursive before I even hit the first grade. And I think that's an important thing that we should do, because it's about discipline. It's about attention to detail. And I see so many young people that their penmanship, it's non-existent. They might as well put an X down when you ask them to sign their name. So let's get back to some of that blocking and tackling, some of the basic cornerstones of an education. And I think being able to have good written communication, not just something that you type on a computer and you hit spell check, but really understanding subject-verb agreement and things of that nature, because that leads to quality oral communication as well. Let's see, George Mallory, do you think there is a salary disparity from college level and other education institutions, education from the bottom up approach? Yeah, there's a disparity. When I look at what is happening on a lot of these college campuses, man, I tell you what, they've become country clubs. I'd hang out there 5, 6, 7 years as well. And also, when you look at this whole thing about tenure, I don't get it. I don't think that anyone should be able to earn a position where they're above reproach. But yet, that's what we have happening. You should have to continue to meet certain standards, and not just believe that I'm in, and you can't touch me, you can't do anything. I mean, I think that Elizabeth Warren had like a 6-figure income for one little single college course that she taught. That kind of hurts the college student. You want to talk about what drives up college student loans? Look at some of these salaries being paid for some of these professors that are there tenured. Okay. Hey, Susanna Stopper Murphy. Hello from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Susanna, I've been up to Gettysburg 3 times, and I want to tell each and every person that is on this Facebook Live, if you have never been to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, or Antietam, or Fredericksburg, or some of the other great Civil War battlefield sites, please go. And seriously, please walk Gettysburg. Gettysburg, without a doubt, one of my great heroes, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, what he did there at Little Round Top. That was true American grit. That was American spirit. And Gettysburg was the battle that turned the tide in the Civil War. So it's a great study in leadership. And hopefully, the people that want to tear down monuments and everything like that, they will never get their hands on Gettysburg because it's an incredible historic place. Okay, it's 7:31. I'm going to take a couple more questions because, like I said, I don't like to be intrusive into your lives. So we've done our 30 minutes. William Grant. Why don't progressive socialists ever discuss realistic tax raises when they talk about free money? Because they don't want to talk about the realistic tax raises. Because the bottom line is this: wealth redistribution is the #1 tenet of a socialist economic principle. And so they just believe that it's not your money. Is theirs for them to take and to redistribute based upon their own ideological agenda. Everything is based on their, uber emotionalism. Don't you care? Don't you want to give it? You mean old fat cats. You have too much money. We're going to the 1% against the 99%. Look, the great thing about America is everyone can be a 1%er in their own understanding and definition of being a 1%er. And we're not out here to work hard and bust our butts so that someone far away can take from us and redistribute based upon their own ideological agenda. That truly is un-American. But some people believe in that. God help them. And like the drill sergeant used to say, you can't fix stupid. All you can do is try to keep it from spreading. All right, last question to take. Susanna Stockman Murphy again. How is the shadow government legal? How are sanctuary cities legal? Sanctuary cities are not legal. All matters of naturalization, immigration, and everything, that is enumerated power to the legislative branch of the United States of America. And what we see these states doing is a violation of the Constitution as well as some of these cities. And so that's why when the left talks about abolishing the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, that just lets you know that they want anarchy. They care more about criminal and illegal immigrants than they do about the safety and the security of law-abiding Americans. They don't care about our borders. Again, go and look and see what Keith Ellison said. How can someone run to be the attorney general, the top law enforcement officer in a state when they don't believe in our laws? And border security and having a sovereign country is so important to that. Borders are not an injustice. Borders exist to define us as our country. And if we don't have borders, we don't have America. Final question. Wendy Tate Dudley, when will the Clintons be held accountable? I don't know. I think the best way to hold the Clintons accountable is to not allow them to ever have political power in the United States of America. I think that eats them up on the inside more than anything else. And that's what's tearing Hillary Clinton apart right now as you see her out and about. Kelly Culberson Christie, I need to get back to work. God bless you, Mr. West. Kelly, get back to work because Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez is depending upon you to work so that she can take your money and give it away to somebody else as part of the universal basic income scheme. Okay, folks, my daughter Austin, how did you become the best dad in this world? Well, I try to do my best, sweetheart. I love you dearly. And my good friend Probe Thompson III, who I was stationed with back at Fort Bragg. Hey, man, Probe, take care. God bless you. God keep you. And everyone out there, again, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your evening tonight. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. We'll be posting our traveling schedule out there, so maybe I get to see you at some of the places I'm traveling as I get to hit the road once again. But remember this, the left stands for socialist economic principles, never been successful. They want to give away free money. That's what the universal basic income is, on your back. They stand for criminal and illegal immigrants. They don't believe that we should have borders. They don't believe in the sovereignty of the United States of America. They want to abolish the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. They believe in repealing the tax cut law that has given us this incredible economic boom. They would rather see us with high poverty, high unemployment, with more people on food stamps, and barely clicking along with a 1% GDP growth rather than where we are now, because they just want to be in control. They don't want ideological debate. They want ideological domination. They want illegals voting in the United States of America. How can you vote for people that stand for those things? Because those people don't stand for America. God bless you all. Steadfast and loyal. Have a good night.